Hi, this is Jack Stanley, and I wanted to talk about something that's a little hypothetical, and that is, what if Zachary Taylor didn't die in 1850? Would we have had a civil war? It's a very interesting thing to contemplate, and I'd like to talk about the two eras and what was going on at the time, and throw in what I consider to be the big motivating factor between them that totally changed it. In 1850, there was a lot of angst between the North and the South. They were working on what was called the Compromise, which would be called the Compromise of 1850, basically to allow in states, free and slave, also to revamp the Fugitive Slave Act and making it much more powerful, which was frightening. And this deal was worked out, and they showed it to the president, and he said, I won't sign it. And so they argued with the president, and he said, I won't sign it. It's got to be different. And this compromise had been worked out between the North and the South as a way to put a great big Band-Aid on the fissure that was growing between them. And by the president's actions, everything just started to fall apart. And South Carolina said, we're going to secede. And President Taylor said, go ahead, make my day. I will bring down a regiment and deal with you. So everything's ready to just explode. And something really incredible happens. He dies. And everything calms down. The vice president is Millard Fillmore. He said, I'll sign it. I'll approve it. I don't want a civil war. The last thing he wanted. And so he signed it. It became law and was a basic Band-Aid to stop the Civil War for 10 years, basically. But what if Zachary Taylor had lived? I truly believe that had he lived, he would have been against that compromise. The South would have tried to secede, and then all hell would break loose. But here is the big thing that nobody seems to want to talk about, that I consider in 1850 with the Civil War, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, England. What was the difference between England in 1850 and 1861? One thing. The star in the crown, India. And what was India's major crop that was going to England constantly once it becomes part of the empire? Cotton. This is so very, very important, because if you look at this, if the Civil War had taken place in 1850 and started then, it would be so different from 1861. Let's take a look at 1861 first, so you understand 1850. In 1861, the Civil War starts in earnest, and England, while not acknowledging, is quite sympathetic to the South. They get a lot of their cotton, not all of it, because most of it comes from India. But they make ships for the South. They are quite sympathetic, but that's as far as they will go. Now let's go to 1850. What's different? There is no India. And if there's no India, where's the cotton coming from? The South. So if a civil war had started in 1850 rather than 1861, England would have gone to the side of the South to protect its investment in cotton. This is so vitally important and almost always just kind of passed by. The reason England was kept away from the Civil War in 1861 was the fact that they got cotton from India. If India did not belong to part of the British Empire in 1861, you can be sure they would have gone to the side of the South. Cotton was king. The South made cotton what was in England textile mills. Massive amounts of mills. Very much in the North, too. There was stuff going up there. But England was the hugest, was massive. And if hostilities had started in 1850, we would have started what would have become a world war. And many other countries would have picked their sides. And where would this have gone? I don't think the North would have kept the South. I think the South would have perhaps become a province of England, possibly, under the protectorate of England. Wouldn't that be interesting? There's so many different avenues in this. But always remember this. It was a totally different world from 1850 to 1861. And if 1861 did not have India, the American Civil War would have been very, very different. Pretty amazing stuff that never, ever gets talked about. Thank you.